welcome back and thank you for staying with us. This time is the time where we get to meet our health experts, talk about some health issues and how we can all learn from it and keep our health issues in check. And so last week we did speak about diabetes, what actually it's all about, what causes it, how we can actually stay away from it. But today we're focusing more on how to manage it. So management of diabetes is what we'll be focusing on. So I've been joined here by our health expert, your health expert, my health expert, our health expert, and her name is GLADYS Fosu Dazi. She was here last week and she's back again to tell us more about how we can manage diabetes. She's the founder and president of Youth Health Matters Ghana, a registered nurse as well. Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Good to have you here again.
Same here.
Yeah, we had a very fruitful discussion last time out about diabetes, what it's all about. For the purposes of those who maybe didn't catch it last week, can we just go through what we said in a short while, then we go into today's matter?
Okay, last week we actually talked about diabetes and how to manage it, the prevention methods, what all diabetes is about. And actually diabetes simply means excess sugar in the blood. So when during our life activities, you have to be conscious of your health, about your diabetes, what you take, your sugar level intake really matters. So in order not to take in a lot of sugar substances, you have to really manage your diet. And we talked about carbohydrate diets breaking down into glucose. So if you want to manage your diabetes, if you have diabetes, you want to manage it, you have to cut down your carbohydrate intake. So we talked about checking the sugar levels at home, the figures, and we said that if you haven't eaten, it shouldn't be more than 7 millimole per deciliter. And then if you have eaten, it shouldn't be more than 11. So that is the normal ranges that we talked about last week.
All right, and so now today we're talking about management of diabetes. When people are tagged or people are diagnosed to have diabetes, people out there do think that it's all over for them. I mean, it's a big mess. There's absolutely no way out of diabetes. Now, for our health experts, how then do we manage it? I mean, when you get diabetes going forward, managing it, how do we do that?
Okay. First of all, I want to say this. When you have diabetes or you have any other medical condition, that isn't the end of the world.
Okay.
You should reassure yourself that, hey, I have this condition. What do I do? What's the way forward? So you don't get depressed, because depression is another condition on its own. So you don't have to stress yourself so much because you have diabetes. Now, when you have diabetes, you can absolutely live a free life like a normal person. You can. It's all about yourself. It's all about how you manage it, what you do. When we talk about management of diabetes, we are talking about medication.
Okay.
We are talking about exercise. We are talking about diet. So there are three main things that we focus on when it comes to diabetes, of management of diabetes.
Okay.
Sure.
So you said we talk about diet.
We talk about diet.
We talk about exercise.
Yes, and we talk about medication.
And we talk about medication.
Yes.
Okay, now let's start with exercise.
Okay.
For somebody who is diabetic.
Now, if you are diabetic and you have to exercise, you would have to always make sure that your sugar level is not too low. Because anytime you engage yourself in any active exercise, your sugar level, the glucose in your body, that's the sugar in your body, is used as energy. That drives you. That's the fuel that you use in your daily activities.
In essence, when you are going for cross country, you see some students, Red Cross people, standing there with glucose.
Exactly.
They pass it on to you.
They pass it
energy
on to
booster.
You. Exactly. So once you are exercising, your sugar level is being utilized. The glucose in your body is being utilized. So you always have to make sure that your sugar level is not low before you start the exercise.
Okay.
And when you start, you should have something, a backup somewhere, like cubes of sugar, some mineral, anything that contains
sugar,
added sugar.
Okay.
So that in course of your activity, if you feel uncomfortable, you really feel some signs and symptoms before you get into the hypo.
Okay.
Sudden sweat.
And hypo actually means that your sugar level
is low.
is below
Hypo,
normal.
yes, hypo means your sugar level is low, below normal. So once you start exercising and you realize you are sweating profusely, then you have to take a break and then check your sugar level and then take in the added sugar.
What kind of exercise would you recommend for somebody who's diabetic?
I'll recommend brisk walking. Brisk walking, maybe some skipping. You start with you skip at a rate you can do. You don't stress yourself so much because diabetes actually is related to stress.
Okay.
Yes. Once you stress yourself, your cortisol levels increases, and once it's
your what level?
Your cortisol levels.
What is that
it's a substance in the blood. Okay, that actually affects sugar. So when you do that, it increases and the blood sugar also increases. It's kind of medical term, so we don't have to go there. Yes.
It's a little deeper.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, okay.
We can talk about that on another day.
Another day.
Yes.
Okay, so of course we're getting our health experts here, so we'll get to talk about some more of the health issues. So you can get your book, a special book for Tuesday, Studio 5. For the health segment, where we get to meet our health experts here in the person of GLADYS Dadzi. You can jot down some of these things and do your own reading around it. It's going to be helpful to you. Like myself, I'll be taking notes. You see me writing some of the things he says. I take notes of them. Now let's move on to the diet aspect. You said it's managing it is based on 3 aspects we've got. Now we dealt with exercise, so you can do brisk walking, you can do some skipping, but make sure that you've got something stand by. Sugar, keep some sugar or some mineral. Make sure you don't drop below that level. Now let's talk about the diet for somebody who's diabetic.
Okay, now diabetics, we always encourage them to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
And the fruits, we have some fruits that, last week we said you can take everything but in moderation.
In moderation, that's right.
Yes. Let's say banana, you can take banana, but you can't take bunch like about 5 fingers of banana. No, maybe 2 is fine.
Okay.
When you're taking orange, 1 is fine. When you're taking sugar cane, just a finger is okay. Yes. And with a diet, you have to eat in moderation and you reduce your carbohydrate intake, because everything carbohydrate breaks down into glucose.
You don't want too much in your system.
We don't want too much of sugar in your system when you are diabetic.
So small fufu.
Small fufu.
Half of bank. Challenge to be hard for me.
Exactly. But yam, let's say yam, you take just 3 slices of yam.
Charlie.
And then your stew will be more. Like your consomme stew, your vegetable stew will be more. Then the yam will be like 3 slices. When you're taking bread, you take like 1 slice. When you're taking banku, you take very little. Actually, we have measuring cups, so maybe some other time we'll bring it onto the studio and we'll display. So you take a very little ball of banku, and then your fish and your stew or your soup is more. That one will help. Okay, now if you're talking about not taking too much of carbohydrate, what about protein? Does it have any effect? Can you take plenty meat? Can you take plenty fish? Can you take egg? Okay. Beans? Yes, you can take egg, you can take beans, you can take fish. But as we said, you don't take in too much, because diabetes links with hypertension. So once we are managing the sugar, we are taking care of the heart as well. Because if you take in a lot of fatty meat or the red meat, it will end up having effects on the blood pressure, and then the blood pressure also goes high, because diabetes and blood pressure, they are like siblings. Once you have diabetes, the likelihood of you getting hypertension is on the high. Okay. Yes. Now that takes us to the third part of managing diabetes: medication. Now, medication, we have basically, there's 2 types of medication. Okay. We have the insulin, and then we have the tablets. The tablets, we have the metformin, we have the Dionyls. So when you are diagnosed of diabetes, your doctor puts you on medication. And before you take the medication, you have to make sure your food is ready. Before you take the insulin, you have to make sure the food is ready. We educate patients who are on insulin to know how to inject themselves. So we teach you how to inject the insulin, the time at which you have to inject.
And it has to be before meals.
Exactly.
But your meal has to be ready.
Your meal has to be ready.
This is the small fufu.
This is the small fufu.
Oh, this is the small. So, this is the 3 slice of yam.
Yes.
And this is the plenty kontomire.
Yes.
And this is the insulin.
Yes.
Okay.
And the insulin, you don't just leave it anyhow.
There's a way of keeping
you
it.
Keep it refrigerated.
Okay.
It should be in the fridge all the time. And your needles, you have to be changing them. It's disposable. So once you use, you dispose it off. Once you use, you dispose it off. And when you are on the medication, you take it just as the insulin. Some take it once daily, some take it twice daily, depending on what your doctor has seen and your therapy. Yes. So the medication is basically the tablets and the insulin ones. Yes. So I'll encourage people to actually take their medication seriously. Now we talk about 3 things, and the 3 things you cannot leave one out of it.
Oh, it goes.
It goes. Yes, they are triplets. Yes,
always moving together.
Exactly. You can't say I'm exercising, but I'll eat in excess. No. You can't say I'm taking my drugs, so I'm taking my medication, so I won't exercise. No, you have to do that. I'm checking my diet. I'm checking my diet. So I'll take my medication. No way. You have to take everything seriously. Your diet, your medication, and then exercise. With that, you'll be fit. You have your self-esteem. You boost your self-esteem. That also takes us to diabetes and sports. Okay. When you're an athlete or a sports person, you always have to take good care of your sugar levels. Yes, you don't go cross country and your sugar level is like 4, which is very hypo. Yes, you can't complete the race. You can't complete the race. Yes, so that's basically about diabetes, management of diabetes. And with the management too, you have to take in a lot of water. In the house when there's no health expert and you realize your blood sugar level is very high, what we say is that the first thing to do is to consult a doctor or get to the nearest health facility. But from the time you leave the house to the health facility, you can take this rock salt, the big salt.
Big salt, okay.
Yes, you can just put about 3 in water and then you drink.
Drink it, okay.
And then you drink a lot of water. You drink a lot of water before you get to the health facility.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So that is what we really encourage people to do. And when your blood sugar level too is very low at home, you quickly take some cubes of sugar, about 4 cubes of sugar
to boost it more.
Then you get to the hospital.
Great stuff. So I hope that all of you out there, your friends who actually have this condition, you can also pass the good news to them. I'm not a health expert, but for all the things that we've discussed about diets, about checking and not eating too much, not under eating, about exercise and making sure that you've got something standing by just in case you're falling below your sugar level, and about medication, what do you have to do in making sure that it's all taken at the right time and not making a mistake with it. There's one thing that accompanies it, and I'll make that one the 4th way of managing diabetes. I don't know if health experts will accommodate that, but I think that the 4th way of managing diabetes has got to do with discipline. If you are disciplined, you can actually get through your diet planning well and stick to it. If you are disciplined, you can stick to your exercise routines. If you are disciplined, you can also stick to your medication and the prescription from the health experts, like we've had from our health expert today, GLADYS Dadzi. And so today we're talking about managing of diabetes. So you out there, do make sure that you pass the word on to people you know who are in this condition. We'll do some more of the health issues anytime we are here on Tuesdays on Studio 5. Our time with the health expert is almost over. And yes, do keep your messages coming through on our social media handles, so that if you have any questions about it, we can pass them on to our health experts. You get your answers in short time. So you go on to Facebook at GTV Sports Plus and keep your messages coming. You can also do so on Twitter at my GTV Sports, or tweet at me at Official Sicho, and let's discuss all of your health issues with our health experts. And so our time is almost up with you. What final words do you have to say to people who are in this condition? Some words.
Okay, my final words to all diabetics in Ghana or even across the world is that, yes, teacher said discipline. Discipline is key. So you have to discipline yourself, take your medication, exercise, and then rest. You have to rest. Don't stress up so much because, as I always say, each position you occupy, whether you are there or you are not there, there's always a replacement.
Your job will go on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you really have to take care of your health and then visit the health facility. Forget about the queue you join. In Ghana, we are doing well. We will get there. So forget about the queue for now and go join that queue and see your doctor. Yes, that will help.
Okay, somebody just sent in a message quickly before you leave. Clement Sam, it said, Clement, good morning. He says that, is diabetes curable?
Diabetes is manageable, it's not curable.
Okay, Clement, you got your answer. So you've got to manage it. You need all the discipline you can get to actually manage it. We spoke about managing it. You have to do your dieting well, do your exercise, but you know the rules that goes with it. And then you can do